Samantha Blake never thought moving into an old Victorian house in Salem would change her life, but the moment she stepped into the attic, everything shifted. A large, ornate mirror stood in the corner, reflecting more than just her image. At first, it was just unsettling, her own movements slightly delayed, her reflection smiling when she didn't. Nights grew restless as whispers seemed to echo from the glass, and shadows stretched across her walls, twisting unnaturally. One night, Samantha glimpsed a figure behind her reflection, a creature with glowing eyes and a grin too wide to be human. Panic gripped her, but curiosity chained her in front of the mirror, forcing her to stare as the creature lunged at her reflection. The next morning, a neighbor reported seeing a strange, distorted face in the attic window. Samantha's own hands shook as she realized something terrifying. The mirror didn't just reflect reality, it could reach into it. Her fear was only the beginning, and by nightfall, the first victim disappeared, leaving only a shattered reflection on the mirror's surface as a chilling warning of what was coming. Samantha shared her fears with her best friend Ethan, hoping he could help her make sense of the growing terror. At first, he laughed off the idea, joking about haunted houses and overactive imaginations. But when he noticed the mirror seemed to react to their presence, moving objects slightly when they weren't looking and whispering in a voice that mimicked their thoughts, Ethan's skepticism faltered. They began to notice subtle changes in the townspeople, distant friends, and neighbors, as though the mirror's darkness reached beyond the attic, touching the whole town. Strange accidents started occurring, cars slamming into trees, pets disappearing, and shadows flitting across windows. Samantha's dreams became a nightmare reflection of the house, the beast whispering her name, promising a horrifying fate. Desperate for answers, Ethan and Samantha dug into old records at the Salem Historical Library, discovering that the house had belonged to a secretive cult that vanished decades ago. The mirror had been their most prized possession, and it was clear it hungered for more than just reflections. It craved the souls of the living, feeding on fear to grow stronger with each passing day. One night, Samantha noticed red marks appearing on her reflection, tiny scratches that matched wounds forming on her own skin. Panic surged as she realized the mirror's influence was no longer just psychological, it was physical. Meanwhile, Ethan searched every record he could find, uncovering a chilling pattern. Each owner of the house had vanished mysteriously, their bodies never found, only the mirror left intact. Shadows began crawling along the walls, their movements synchronized with Samantha's reflection, teasing her with glimpses of the beast. The creature itself started manifesting more fully in the mirror, half human and half shadow, leering with malevolent intelligence. Samantha tried to flee, but doors slammed shut, trapping her with the thing she saw only in glass. The air grew cold, breaths visible in the dim light as whispers turned to growls. The mirror pulsed with an unnatural life, a heartbeat echoing from the glass itself. Ethan tried to intervene, but the beast reached out, dragging one of the previous victims into the mirror with a scream that echoed long after the glass returned to calm. The danger was no longer contained, and every reflection around them became suspect. Samantha and Ethan tried everything to destroy the mirror, smashing it with hammers and fire, but every attempt failed. The glass reformed, stronger and darker than before, as if mocking their efforts. In a desperate search for understanding, Ethan uncovered diaries and letters from the original cult, revealing the mirror's true power. It was a vessel for an ancient being that thrived on fear and despair, growing stronger with every soul, it claimed. Samantha's reflection began multiplying, each version more twisted and sinister than the last, mirroring not just her image but her worst fears. Reality itself seemed to fracture. Rooms appeared longer, shadows moved independently, and whispers filled every reflective surface. They realized that escaping the house was impossible until they understood the ritual that could weaken the mirror's hold. Samantha's sense of self began slipping, her reflection sometimes moving independently, smiling cruelly at her confusion. The beast was learning, adapting, and feeding, and with every passing night, the mirror became less a barrier and more a gateway, threatening to spill its darkness into the real world. The stakes had never been higher, and the terror never more real. The mirror's influence finally escalated, pulling Samantha into a dark, twisted version of the house where the beast ruled everything. Inside this nightmarish mirror world, the walls dripped shadows, rooms shifted unpredictably, and trapped souls of previous victims wandered in despair, their eyes pleading for escape. Samantha faced horrific visions of herself, each twisted and monstrous, forcing her to confront her deepest fears. Ethan risked venturing into the attic, searching for a way to reach her through the glass, encountering hallucinations and whispers designed to make him flee. Samantha realized the beast wasn't just a reflection, it was part of her now, a dark fragment feeding off her fear and hesitation. Each step she took inside the mirror world felt like being pulled deeper into madness. A horrifying choice loomed: confront the beast alone or risk dragging Ethan into the nightmare. As the mirror began to vibrate and glow with unnatural energy, Samantha stood face to face with the creature, knowing that a wrong move could mean eternal imprisonment. Every scream echoed from both worlds, blending reality and nightmare, leaving viewers on the edge of their seats. The mirror began seeping its darkness into the real world, affecting the town and its people. Shadows moved independently, reflective surfaces showed images that weren't there, and even Ethan's reflection twisted into something evil, trying to manipulate him. Samantha returned from the mirror world, changed and uneasy, hinting that part of the beast had merged with her. She struggled with impulses she didn't recognize, hearing the beast's whisper in her own thoughts. The town's residents became increasingly unpredictable, disappearing or acting violently, influenced by the mirror's spreading power. Samantha and Ethan realized they needed to gather allies to confront the curse directly, but fear had already taken hold. Objects moved on their own, reflections seemed to threaten them, and the air carried a sense of oppressive dread. Samantha confronted her new inner darkness while Ethan devised a plan to weaken the mirror using the original cult's ritual. As the shadowy beast roamed freely, the line between human and monster blurred, creating a sense of escalating dread that made escape seem impossible. With the mirror's darkness consuming the town, Samantha and Ethan raced against time to gather the components needed for the ancient ritual. Streets were empty, homes abandoned, and eerie figures lurked in reflective surfaces, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Samantha's connection to the beast intensified, forcing her to struggle constantly against impulses that threatened her humanity. Desperate townspeople either vanished or became vessels for the mirror's evil, making every encounter deadly. Ethan's determination and Samantha's courage were tested as they maneuvered through a nightmarish landscape where even their own reflections could betray them. They discovered the mirror's power was fueled not just by fear, but by denial and avoidance, meaning they had to confront their darkest secrets. In the attic, where the mirror pulsed with power, Samantha stared at the beast, knowing this confrontation could cost her life or her soul. A single slip could allow the creature to fully escape into reality, leaving the town hopeless and the mirror unstoppable. Tension reached a fever pitch as every moment became a battle for survival. In a final, terrifying showdown, Samantha faced the beast in both the real world and the mirror world simultaneously. Shadows twisted around her, whispers escalated to deafening screams, and reflections threatened to consume everyone nearby. Using knowledge from the ancient ritual, Samantha confronted her deepest fears, embracing them instead of resisting, while Ethan performed the necessary incantations to shatter the mirror's power. The glass cracked and splintered, the beast screaming in agony as it was pulled back into nothingness. Trapped souls were freed, light returned to the house, and the oppressive darkness lifted. But as Samantha and Ethan surveyed the aftermath, the faintest ripple appeared in a puddle of water on the floor. A shadow moved behind her, almost imperceptibly, hinting that the terror had not completely ended. The house was silent, but the mirror's curse lingered, leaving a haunting question. Had they truly defeated the beast, or had it merely learned to wait? The season ended with a lingering unease, a perfect hook for what could come next.